Hey everyone, in this video, as part of the most dangerous persuasion weapon series, I want to cover ultimatums, what they are, the consequences that they have in a relationship or negotiation, how to defend against them, and how to use them if you really have to. So let's take a look. So first of all, it's important to define what an ultimatum is. In its simplest form, it's extreme rigidity. Either the other side does what you want, or the negotiation or conversation is over. I usually call them the negotiation nuke, because what happens is, the only way that you can use them is as a threat, because if you actually enforce them, then the relationship is devastated. So you can consider them a type of bluff or a type of threat. It's not actually used to be enforced, it's just used to put the person on the defensive, and hopefully make them a little bit more persuadable to what you want. In fact, in my experience, ultimatums are not used to get anything done. They're used as a show of power, to subjugate the other side and to show that you have control over them. In fact, they are one of the favorite weapons of the dominant personality type. So if you think of someone who is very aggressive, very narcissistic, who has a big ego and is a big baby and can blow up a whole negotiation just because you feel offended, they're the type of people that usually use ultimatums. So our first insight here is that ultimatums are not useful to any negotiation, because they don't move the negotiation further in any way. I mean, sure, they can move it further under duress, but they don't actually move it forward in an organic manner. So first of all, they poison the relationship, because in any situation where you use an ultimatum or any type of threat, you are eroding trust. So if a person makes an accommodation because you've made an ultimatum, they have no guarantee whatsoever that you're not just going to pull another ultimatum if the next thing that you want is not going to be done. And this really destroys trust in a relationship. But more than that, whatever accommodation that the other side makes can be considered an accommodation under duress, if you will. So they're just doing it because they're forced to, and they're not doing it because they want to help you. And this is going to manifest itself in a negotiation later down the road, because anything else in the future that they could be doing for you, they're not going to do it anymore. And in many cases, they'll even get out of their own way just to screw you over because of what you did in terms of the ultimatum. Again, this is usually what happens with a dominant. They try their best to get all of the value that they can and to subjugate the other person, and they succeed. But in the second negotiation or in the third negotiation, they are going to create a lifelong enemy, and there are going to be traps that just explode in their face, because it really destroys the will to collaborate with the person in the long term. So this brings us to the question of how to defend from an ultimatum, and it's very simple. The only way to actually protect yourself from an ultimatum is to deny it outright. If the person says, for example, it's now or never, then you tell them, well, I'm sorry then, it's never. Or if the person says you need to buy this at this price or we don't do it, then you say politely, then we don't do it. What you need to realize here is, even if you want to make a counter offer, if you make the counter offer while accepting their ultimatum, you are still going to be on the defensive. You're still playing to the rules. So usually the best step is to first break the ultimatum and then make the counteroffer. So for example, let's say that they want you to do a 20% discount and you can't do it at all, but maybe you can do 2 or 3%. So they pull an ultimatum and they tell you, either you do a 20% discount or we're done here. The wrong way to do it is to do the counteroffer right away. To say, hey, we can't do 20%, but we can do 3%, because that shows that the threat is working. You are playing their game and you are playing into their frame. What you want to do instead is, when they say it's 20% or we're done here, you tell them, okay, we're done here, goodbye. And then you say, hey, if you want to reconsider, maybe we can do a 3% discount. So what you're doing is, first, you are smashing that threat, and then you go in, playing your own game and with control, and then you make your offer. So what they're doing is they're bluffing or they're threatening you in a way, and you have to show that you are not going to react to that threat. And then you present your counteroffer. Because if you react to the threat, even if you change your behavior just a little bit, you are validating that threat, and you're just welcoming future ultimatums or future threats. The only way to defend and to be on an equal standing with the person is to reject the ultimatum in their face. The only way to stand on equal footing and to defend against an ultimatum is to tell them, I'm not going to react to this. I'm sorry. If you want to blow it up, then blow it up. And only after that, when you're in power, can you suggest something else. And this brings us to the following point, which is, how do you use an ultimatum yourself? And usually what you want to do is you want to pin it on somebody else or a system. You don't want to be the one pulling the ultimatum. So for example, if you have a client and maybe they're going to renew, maybe not, but they have a deadline of 1 week, what you don't want to do is you don't want to be the person who tells them personally, I'm the one who says that either you renew in 1 week or we're done here. So what you want to do is you want to say, for example, I'm very sorry, but our process is that for any customer, after one project is done, they have 7 days to indicate if they're going to renew. I'm very sorry, I can't do anything about it, and it's a required response. In other words, there is an ultimatum coming, but it's not from you. So you are not eroding trust or you are not creating problems in the relationship. It's almost like you're pinning it on another enemy. And now it's the two of you against that enemy. And you even want to play that frame of, if I could do something to change it, then I would. I'm on your side here, but there's nothing that I can do. If possible, you even want to make it seem like it's just a boundary and not an ultimatum, saying something like, I'm very sorry, but it is required that the client indicates the renewal within 7 days. You don't even tell them or else. You just tell them this is what must happen. So the or else is implied, but it's not explicitly stated. So to summarize, ultimatums are very dangerous persuasion tools. They usually don't move a negotiation forward in any way. They're just used to show power or to subjugate the other side. They're usually used by dominants or by people who are willing to blow up a negotiation without any reason. And precisely for these reasons, the only way to truly defend against an ultimatum is to not accept it, to tell the person to their face, you are not subjugating me. Because even if you change your behavior a little bit, you are still showing that you are effective. What you have to do is you have to call their bluff and to tell them that the threat isn't working, and then you can suggest something. And remember, if you're going to use an ultimatum yourself, don't make it seem like a hard ultimatum, just make it seem like a boundary. This must happen. And if you can, pin it on somebody else. It comes from a process or it comes from somebody else, but not from me, because I'm on your side, obviously. Something like this. If you've enjoyed the video, consider liking and subscribing. And don't forget to check out the channel for more negotiation, persuasion, and communication techniques. Thank you for watching.